Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his face as he worked on the broken air recycler. The metal was hot under his hands and the small room smelled like burnt wires. Another day. Another broken machine on Frontier Station Delta 7. The pay was bad, but it was enough to keep him alive. He had been living on the station for 3 years now. It was not a nice place. The walls were old and dirty. The lights flickered. Half the shops were closed. Most people who came here were traders, smugglers, or people running from something. Jake fit right in. He was running from debt and a failed engineering career on Earth. His home was a converted storage room in the lower levels of the station. It was small and cramped, but it was his. He had a bed, a small kitchen, and his tools. That was all he needed. Or so he told himself. The job today was fixing the outer hull sensors. The station manager, a fat man named Pete, had offered him 50 credits for the work. It was not much, but Jake needed every credit he could get. His food supplies were running low again. Jake put on his spacesuit and went outside the station. The work was simple but dangerous. One wrong move and he would float away into space forever. He had done this kind of work many times before. His hands moved quickly and surely as he replaced the broken parts. He was almost finished when he saw something strange. There was a cargo container floating near the station. It was old and rusty. Most of the paint had worn off. But that was not what caught his attention. There was a small light coming from inside it. Jake looked closer. The container had a small crack in its side. The light was very faint, but it was definitely there. Someone or something was inside. He should have called station security. That was the smart thing to do. But Jake had learned not to trust the security on this station. They were corrupt and mean. If there was someone hiding in that container, the security officers would probably just throw them out into space. Jake made a decision that would change his life forever. He used his suit's thrusters to move toward the container. As he got closer, he could see that the crack was big enough for him to look through. What he saw inside made his blood freeze. 2 young girls were huddled together in the corner of the container. But they were not human girls. Their skin was a pale blue color that seemed to glow softly in the dark. Their eyes were large and bright like stars. Their hair was long and silver. The older girl looked to be about 16 years old. She was holding the younger one, who seemed to be around 12. Both were thin and looked very scared. Their clothes were torn and dirty. The older girl had a cut on her arm that was bleeding a strange golden liquid. Jake's heart started beating fast. He had never seen aliens like these before. In all his years of space travel, he had only met a few alien species. Most of them looked somewhat like humans. These girls looked like something from a fairy tale. The older girl must have sensed him watching. She looked up and saw his face through the crack. Her eyes went wide with fear. She moved to protect the younger girl, even though she was clearly hurt. Jake tried to think of what to do. He could not leave them there. The container had no life support. They would die soon without air and heat. But he also could not take them to the station authorities. These girls were clearly hiding from something or someone. He made another decision. Jake went back to his storage room and got his emergency supplies. He had a portable life support unit, some food, and a basic medical kit. It took him 3 trips to bring everything to the container. The girls watched him with wide, frightened eyes as he set up the life support unit. He tried to smile and move slowly to show them he was not a threat. When fresh air started flowing into the container, both girls took deep breaths. Jake knew he could not leave them in the container. It was too dangerous. If station security found them, bad things would happen. He would have to bring them to his room. He tried to talk to them, but they did not understand English. They spoke to each other in a language that sounded like music. It was beautiful, but completely alien to Jake's ears. Using hand signals, Jake tried to show them that he wanted to help. He pointed to himself, then to them, then toward the station. The older girl shook her head and said something sharp in their language. She clearly did not trust him, but the younger girl was different. She looked at Jake with curious eyes. When he offered her a food bar, she took it carefully. She tasted it and smiled. It was the first smile Jake had seen from either of them. The older girl watched her sister eat. Her face showed the pain of someone who had to make an impossible choice. Finally, she nodded to Jake. She understood that they had no other option. Getting the girls into the station was the hardest part. Jake had to sneak them through the maintenance tunnels. The older girl could barely walk because of her injury. The younger one stayed close to her sister, holding her hand tightly. Jake's room had never felt so small. The two alien girls sat on his bed, looking around with wonder and fear. Now that they were in the light, Jake could see them more clearly. Their skin really did glow softly. Their eyes changed color slightly as they looked at different things. They were beautiful in a way that was completely alien. The older girl was still bleeding. Jake got his medical kit and tried to clean her wound. She let him help her, though she watched his every move. The golden blood stopped flowing when he put a bandage on the cut. Jake gave them more food and water. They ate slowly, as if they had not had a good meal in a long time. The younger girl kept looking at Jake and smiling. The older one remained suspicious. As night fell on the station, Jake realized his life had just become much more complicated. He had two alien refugees in his room. He did not know where they came from or what they were running from. He did not even know their names. But looking at them now, safe and fed, Jake knew he had made the right choice. Whatever came next, he would protect these girls. Something about them made him want to be better than he was. Maybe it was the way the younger one trusted him. Maybe it was the way the older one was willing to sacrifice everything for her sister. Jake Morrison had always been just a broke engineer trying to survive. But tonight he became something more. He became a guardian, a protector, a father figure to two lost children from the stars. He had no idea that this simple act of kindness would eventually shake the foundations of the galaxy itself. 3 weeks had passed since Jake found the girls. Life had become strange but wonderful in ways he never expected. The older girl had finally told him her name was Zara. The younger one was Luna. Their names sounded like music when they said them. Jake had set up a small area in his room for the girls to sleep. He gave them his bed and made himself a sleeping area on the floor. Zara had tried to protest, but Jake would not listen. They needed comfort more than he did. Learning to communicate had been hard at first. Jake had used his engineering skills to build a basic translation device from spare parts. It was not perfect, but it helped them understand each other better. The girls were quick learners. Within 2 weeks, they could speak simple English words. "Jake hungry?" Luna would ask when she saw him working late. She was always worried about him. It made his heart warm to know someone cared. Zara was more careful with her words. She watched everything Jake did. She was protecting her sister, and Jake respected that. Trust had to be earned, especially when you were running from something dangerous. The girls had amazing abilities that Jake was still trying to understand. One morning he woke up to find Luna floating 6 inches above her bed, glowing softly in her sleep. When he gasped, she fell back down and woke up confused. "Luna fly in dreams," she explained later, looking embarrassed. Zara could do even more incredible things. When Jake's datapad broke, she had touched it gently. Blue light flowed from her fingers into the device. Suddenly it was working better than ever. "Energy flows," Zara said when Jake stared at her in amazement. "Luna feels hearts. I touch energy." Jake began to understand that these girls came from a civilization far more advanced than anything humans had ever seen. But they were still just children who needed care and protection. Food became a problem quickly. Jake's small savings were disappearing fast. He started taking every repair job he could find, even the dangerous ones. The girls noticed he was working more and sleeping less. "Jake tired," Luna said one evening. She put her small hand on his forehead. Suddenly, Jake felt more rested than he had in months. The exhaustion just melted away. "Luna, you do not need to do that," Jake said gently. "Jake helps Luna." "Luna helps Jake," she replied with a bright smile. Zara was learning to cook human food. She was surprisingly good at it. She could somehow sense what ingredients would taste good together. Their simple meals became small feasts under her care. "My people cook with mind and heart," she explained. "Feel what food wants to become." Jake had to be very careful when taking the girls outside his room. He created fake identification cards for them using his computer skills. He told anyone who asked that they were his cousins from a distant human colony. Their unusual appearance could be explained as genetic modifications that some colonists used. The first time they walked through the station together, Jake was nervous. But the girls handled it well. Luna stayed close to him, holding his hand. Zara walked a little behind, always watching for danger. At the market, Luna was amazed by everything. She had never seen so many different types of food and goods. Her eyes went wide when she saw fresh fruit. "Colors sing," she whispered to Jake. Each fruit has different music. Jake bought her a small apple. When she bit into it, her face lit up with joy. Sweet music, she said happily. The shopkeeper, an old woman named Mary, smiled at them. Your little cousin is charming, she told Jake. She sees the world differently than most people, Jake replied. It was the truth, just not the whole truth. As the weeks passed, Jake noticed changes in his own life. His work was getting better. Luna's ability to sense emotions helped him understand his customers. He could tell when someone was trying to cheat him, or when they really needed help. Zara's knowledge of energy systems gave him insights into problems he had never understood before. His reputation as an engineer was improving. People started asking for him specifically. Jake's smart now, Luna said one day. Jake was always smart, Zara corrected her sister. Now Jake has better tools. But the improvements came with risks. Jake started noticing that some people were paying too much attention to him. Captain Lisa Brooks, the station's security chief, had asked him several questions about his cousins. Those girls of yours, she said one day. They are not in any colonial records I can find. Records get lost sometimes, Jake replied carefully. Outer colonies are not always good at keeping track of people. Captain Brooks looked at him with sharp eyes. Maybe, but I have been getting reports of unusual energy readings from your section. You would not know anything about that, would you? Jake's heart raced, but he kept his face calm. My equipment is old. Maybe it is giving off strange signals. The captain did not look convinced, but she had no proof of anything wrong. She left Jake alone for now, but he knew she would be watching. That night, Jake talked to the girls about the danger. People are starting to ask questions, he told them. We need to be more careful. Zara's face became serious. Jake in danger because of us? We are all in danger if the wrong people find out about you, Jake said honestly. Luna looked scared. Luna, hide better? Jake hugged her gently. You are both doing great. We just need to be smart. The next morning brought a new problem. When Jake went to the market for food, Mary, the shopkeeper, pulled him aside. Jake, you need to be careful, she whispered. Some rough-looking men were asking about you yesterday. They wanted to know about your family. Jake's blood went cold. What kind of men? The kind who hurt people for money, Mary said. They had weapons and looked like they were hunting something. Or someone. Jake thanked Mary and hurried back to his room. He found the girls practicing their English with his old books. They looked so innocent and peaceful. It broke his heart to think that people were hunting them. Girls, we need to talk, he said. Zara looked up from her book. She could sense his fear. Bad people coming? Maybe, Jake said. You need to tell me more about why you are running. I cannot protect you if I do not understand the danger. The sisters looked at each other. They had a silent conversation with their eyes. Finally, Zara nodded. We tell Jake truth, she said slowly. But truth is big. Bigger than Jake knows. Luna took Jake's hand. Jake, good man. Jake keeps Luna and Zara safe. We trust Jake now. As the artificial night settled over the station, Jake prepared to learn secrets that would change everything he thought he knew about the universe. The girls were about to trust him with their real story. He had no idea that their story involved empires, royal bloodlines, and power beyond imagination. All he knew was that 2 children needed his protection, and he would give everything he had to keep them safe. Outside his small room, bounty hunters were already making plans. The hunt for the lost princesses was about to begin in earnest. But for now, in the warm glow of his simple home, Jake Morrison was just a man learning to be a father to 2 extraordinary children. The galaxy was about to test just how far human love and stubbornness could go. The truth came out on a cold Tuesday morning when Luna collapsed in Jake's arms. She had been playing with a small toy Jake made for her when suddenly she started shaking. Her skin, normally a soft blue glow, turned pale and gray. She fell to the floor, her breath coming in short gasps. Luna! Zara screamed, rushing to her sister's side. Jake had no idea what to do. Human medicine might not work on alien biology, but he could not watch Luna suffer. He picked her up gently and ran toward the medical bay. Dr. Ryan Carter was the only doctor on the station Jake trusted. Ryan was young, honest, and did not ask too many questions. He was also one of the few people who treated everyone fairly, human or not. Please help her, Jake begged as he carried Luna into the medical bay. Ryan took one look at Luna and his eyes went wide, but he did not hesitate. Put her on the examination table. I will do what I can. Zara stayed close to her sister, holding Luna's hand. Blue light flowed between them as Zara tried to share her strength. Ryan watched this with amazement but said nothing. I need to run some tests, Ryan said quietly. But Jake, I have to tell you, I have never seen this species before. They are not in any medical database I know. Luna's condition got worse. Her breathing became weaker. The glow under her skin was fading. Jake felt helpless watching this brave little girl suffer. Please, Zara whispered to Jake. Luna needs home medicine. But home very far away. What kind of medicine? Jake asked. Zara looked scared to answer. Finally she said, crystal from our world. But crystal here impossible to find. Ryan was working with his equipment, trying to understand Luna's biology. Her cellular structure is incredible, he muttered. It is like she is made of living energy. Suddenly, alarms started going off throughout the station. Captain Brooks's voice came over the speakers. All residents stay in your quarters. Unknown ships are approaching the station. Jake looked out the medical bay window. In the distance, he could see 3 large ships moving toward them. They were sleek and dangerous looking, unlike any human vessels he had ever seen. Bounty hunters, Zara whispered, her face full of fear. Looking for you? Jake asked. Zara nodded. They want to take us back, or sell us to enemies. Luna stirred weakly on the table. Jake, she whispered. Jake, protect Luna? Always, Jake promised, taking her small hand. Ryan finished his scans and came over to them. His face was serious. Jake, these girls are not just any aliens. Their genetic structure shows they come from a highly advanced species. Royal bloodline markers. They are incredibly important. What does that mean? Jake asked, though he was starting to understand. It means, Ryan said carefully, that Luna and Zara are probably princesses or something similar, and someone very powerful is looking for them. The bounty hunters docked with the station an hour later. Jake could hear their heavy footsteps in the corridors. They were searching room by room looking for their targets. Luna was getting worse. Her fever was rising and the glow under her skin was almost gone. Ryan had given her medicine to help with the pain, but he could not cure an alien illness he did not understand. We have to move her, Jake said. If they find us here, they will take both girls, but Luna was too weak to walk. Jake would have to carry her. Zara helped him wrap Luna in a blanket. As they prepared to leave the medical bay, Luna grabbed Jake's shirt. Jake, she whispered. Luna tells secret now. Luna and Zara from Big Empire. Mother is Empress. Rule many worlds. Jake's world stopped spinning. The girls were not just princesses. They were the daughters of an empress who ruled multiple worlds, and he had been hiding them in his storage room for weeks. Why did you not tell me this before? He asked gently. Scared Jake would be afraid, Luna said weakly. Jake, good man, but this very big secret. Zara looked at Jake with tears in her eyes. Mother thinks we are dead. Ship attacked when we traveled to peace meeting. We escaped, but ship exploded. Mother probably looking everywhere for us. The sound of the bounty hunters was getting closer. They had weapons and scanning equipment. It would not be long before they found the medical bay. We need to get to my ship, Ryan said suddenly. I have a small medical transport. We can take Luna somewhere safe. You will help us? Jake asked in surprise. These girls need help, Ryan said simply. And I became a doctor to help people, not to ask questions about their citizenship. They started moving toward Ryan's ship, but they were too late. The bounty hunters burst into the corridor just as they were leaving the medical bay. There they are, one of them shouted. The royal brats. The bounty hunters raised their weapons. Jake put himself between the girls and the guns. He was just one human against trained killers, but he would not let them hurt Luna and Zara. That was when Zara did something that changed everything. Her eyes blazed with blue fire. She raised her hand toward the bounty hunters. Energy flowed from her like lightning. The hunters' weapons stopped working. Their equipment sparked and died. Even the lights in the corridor went out. Stay away from my sister, Zara said in a voice that echoed with power. The bounty hunters stepped back in fear. They had not expected the older princess to be this strong, but using so much power made Zara weak. She collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Jake caught her before she could fall. Zara. Luna tried to sit up, but she was too sick. Both girls are dying, Ryan said urgently. We need to get them proper medical help. Jake made a decision that would haunt him for weeks. He picked up Luna and helped Zara walk toward Ryan's ship. But he knew they could not run forever. The girls needed real help, not just hiding. "Ryan," he said as they reached the ship, "send a message on all frequencies. Tell the galaxy that the daughters of the Empress are here and they need medical help." "Jake, no," Zara protested weakly. "Too dangerous." "More dangerous than watching Luna die?" Jake asked. "Your mother needs to know you are alive." Ryan sent the message while Jake held both girls close. Luna was barely conscious now. Zara was trying to stay strong, but Jake could see she was scared. "Whatever happens next," Jake told them, "remember that you are not alone. You have me. You have each other. And soon you will have your mother back." As Ryan's ship left the station heading for the outer system, Jake wondered if he had just saved the girls or doomed them all. The bounty hunters would report their location. Other ships would come. But maybe if they were lucky, the Empress would reach them first. Luna smiled weakly at Jake. "Jake brave," she whispered. Luna not scared when Jake here. Looking down at these two extraordinary children who had changed his life forever, Jake Morrison realized that being brave was not about not being scared. It was about doing the right thing even when you were terrified. Behind them, the bounty hunters were calling for reinforcements. Ahead of them was the vast darkness of space and an uncertain future. But in Ryan's small medical ship, two lost princesses had found something their royal upbringing had never taught them about. They had found what it meant to have a father who would risk everything to keep them safe. 2 days after they left the station, the sky exploded with ships. Jake was holding Luna in the medical bay of Ryan's transport when the sensors started screaming. Through the small window, he watched hundreds of vessels drop out of hyperspace. They were massive, beautiful, and terrifying. Each ship was the size of a city, covered in gleaming metal and pulsing lights. "My God," Ryan whispered from the pilot's seat. "I have never seen anything like this." Zara struggled to sit up from her bed. She was still weak from using her powers, but when she saw the ships, tears started flowing down her face. "Mother," she whispered. "Mother came for us." The lead ship was larger than all the others. It looked like a floating palace made of silver and crystal. As it moved closer, Jake could see weapons that could destroy planets. This was not just a rescue mission. This was the arrival of an empire. Luna stirred in Jake's arms. Her fever had broken during the night, but she was still very weak. "Home ships," she said softly. "Mother's fleet." Jake's hands were shaking. He had spent weeks taking care of 2 lost children. Now he was about to meet the most powerful being in the galaxy, the mother of the girls he had come to love. A voice spoke from their ship's communication system. It was deep, commanding, and spoke perfect English. "Small human vessel. You carry the daughters of Empress Valora. Prepare to be brought aboard the flagship. Any resistance will be met with force." Ryan looked at Jake with worried eyes. "What do we do?" "We go," Jake said simply. "We knew this would happen." "Jake scared?" Luna asked, looking up at him with her large, bright eyes. Jake thought about lying to make her feel better. But these girls deserved honesty. "Yes, Luna, Jake is very scared. But Jake is also happy that your mother found you." A beam of light surrounded their ship. Jake felt weightless as they were pulled into the massive flagship. The docking bay they entered was larger than the entire station where Jake used to live. Hundreds of alien soldiers waited for them, all wearing gleaming armor. When their ship landed, the soldiers formed 2 lines leading to a huge door. Jake helped Zara walk while carrying Luna. Ryan stayed close beside them, his medical bag ready in case the girls needed help. The door opened, and Jake's breath caught in his throat. Empress Valora was the most beautiful and terrifying being he had ever seen. She was tall and graceful, with the same blue-silver skin as her daughters, but where the girls glowed softly, the Empress blazed with power. Her eyes held the weight of ruling countless worlds. Her presence filled the enormous room. She wore robes that seemed to be made of starlight. A crown of living crystal rested on her head. Behind her stood advisors and generals from dozens of different alien species. This was the ruler of the galaxy, and Jake was standing in her throne room holding her children. "Mother," Luna cried out weakly. The Empress moved faster than Jake's eyes could follow. One moment she was on her throne, the next she was kneeling beside them, taking Luna gently from Jake's arms. Tears ran down her face as she held her youngest daughter. "My little star," she whispered in her own language, then in English. "I thought you were dead. I searched everywhere. I conquered 12 systems looking for any trace of you. Zara collapsed into her mother's other arm. We tried to come home, Mother, but the ship was destroyed. We had to hide. The Empress looked at her older daughter with pride and sorrow. You protected your sister. You kept her safe. Then her eyes turned to Jake. He had never felt so small in his life. This being could destroy him with a thought. She ruled more worlds than humans had ever discovered, and he was just a broke engineer who had stumbled into the most important moment in galactic history. You are the human who sheltered my daughters, she said. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the power underneath. Yes, Your Majesty, Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. The Empress studied him for a long moment. Jake felt like she was looking into his soul. Behind her, the alien advisors whispered among themselves. Some looked curious. Others looked like they wanted to kill him for knowing too much about the royal family. Luna told me about you in her mind, the Empress said finally. She shows me memories of your kindness. Food when she was hungry. Comfort when she was afraid. Protection when hunters came. Jake did not know what to say. They needed help. Anyone would have done the same. No, the Empress said firmly. Most beings would have sold my daughters for the reward. Others would have been too afraid to get involved. But you risked everything to protect children who were not even your species. Luna reached out from her mother's arms toward Jake. Jake, good father to Luna. Take care when mother far away. The Empress's eyes widened at her daughter's words. She looked at Jake with new understanding. Father? He read us stories, Zara said weakly. Taught us about humans. Made us feel safe. Luna is right. Jake became our father when we had no one. Jake felt tears in his eyes. These girls meant everything to him now. But they were princesses, daughters of an empress. They belonged in palaces, not in his tiny storage room. Your Majesty, Jake said carefully, I am glad they are safe with you now. They told me about their real family. I understand that they need to go home. The Empress was quiet for a moment. Around them, the huge throne room was silent except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Dr. Carter, she said suddenly to Ryan. You helped care for my daughters as well. Ryan stepped forward nervously. I did what any doctor would do, Your Majesty. Again, no, the Empress said. You risked your career and your life. You could have reported them to authorities. Instead, you chose to heal. She looked back at Jake. I have been Empress for 300 years. I have met millions of beings from thousands of worlds. I know what most people are like when they want something from me. But you two humans ask for nothing. You simply gave my children love when they needed it most. Jake was confused. Your Majesty? My daughters were lost for 4 months, the Empress explained. In that time, I learned something terrible. Most of my empire only obeyed me because they feared my power. When they thought my bloodline was ended, rebellion started on dozens of worlds. Allies became enemies. I realized that ruling by fear alone makes for a very lonely throne. She held her daughters closer. But you humans showed my children something I had almost forgotten. Kindness without expecting reward. Love without conditions. Protection without thinking of the cost. Luna looked up at her mother. Jake family now? The Empress smiled at her youngest daughter. It was the first real smile Jake had seen from her. What do you think, little star? Should Jake and Dr. Carter become part of our family? Yes, Luna said happily. Luna wants Jake to stay. Zara nodded weakly. Jake taught us that families are not just about blood. They are about who chooses to love you. Jake felt his world spinning. Your Majesty, I am just a simple engineer. I do not know anything about royal protocol or running an empire. But you know about protecting children, the Empress said. You know about making hard choices to keep others safe. And my daughters trust you completely. She stood up, still holding Luna. Jake Morrison and Ryan Carter, I offer you positions in my royal court. Jake, you would be guardian and cultural advisor to my daughters. Ryan, you would be their personal physician. You would help them understand other species and other ways of life as they prepare to one day lead this empire. Jake looked at the girls. Luna was smiling at him with pure joy. Zara was watching him hopefully. These children who had started as strangers hiding in a cargo container had become his whole world. I accept, Jake said quietly. If the girls want me to stay, then I will stay. We want. Luna said immediately. Yes, Zara agreed. We want Jake to stay forever. The Empress nodded with satisfaction. Then it is decided. You are now members of the royal household. As alien servants came forward to escort them to their new quarters, Jake realized that his life as a broke engineer was over. He was now part of the most powerful family in the galaxy. But looking at Luna's happy face and Zara's grateful smile, Jake knew he had made the right choice. Some families are born, others are chosen, and sometimes the best families are found floating in the darkness of space, waiting for someone brave enough to open their door. 6 months later, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the Royal Palace ship, watching the blue and green planet Earth grow larger in the viewport. He was wearing fine clothes now instead of his old work coveralls, but he still felt like the same person inside. "Jake nervous?" Luna asked, taking his hand. She was completely healthy now, glowing with the soft blue light that meant she was happy. The alien virus that almost killed her had been cured easily once they reached the royal medical facilities. Her hair had grown longer and was decorated with small crystal ornaments that marked her as a princess. "A little," Jake admitted. "I have not seen my homeworld in many years." Zara joined them at the window. She looked older now, more confident. Learning that her mother was alive and that the Empire was safe had helped her relax. She no longer had to carry the weight of protecting her sister alone. "Earth looks beautiful," Zara said. "The colors are so bright." "Wait until you see a sunset," Jake told her. "Or the ocean. There are so many things I want to show you both." Today was special. The Empress was making the first official diplomatic contact between the Galactic Dominion and humanity. Jake had helped plan this meeting, serving as a bridge between two very different civilizations. In the months since joining the royal family, Jake had learned incredible things. The Galactic Dominion included over 10,000 worlds and hundreds of different species. The Empress ruled them all with wisdom and strength, but she had been looking for something her empire was missing. "Your species has something unique," she had told Jake one day. "Humans have a gift for making connections across differences. You see individuals where others see only groups. That is rare in the galaxy." Jake's role as cultural advisor had grown beyond just caring for the girls. He now helped the Empress understand how other species thought and felt. His engineering background helped him solve problems in new ways. Most importantly, his experience as a common person helped the royal family stay connected to ordinary citizens of the Empire. Ryan had also found his place in the royal court. As the girl's personal physician, he had access to medical technology that was centuries ahead of human science. He was working on ways to help sick children across the Empire, regardless of what species they were. "The Earth leaders are waiting in the throne room," Luna announced, reading a message on her small communication device. "Mother wants us to come now." Jake straightened his formal jacket and followed the girls through the corridors of the palace ship. Even after 6 months, he still felt amazed by the beautiful artwork and advanced technology that surrounded them. The throne room had been prepared for the historic meeting. Representatives from Earth sat at one side of a large crystal table. The Empress sat on her throne with her advisors behind her. Jake and the girls took their places beside the throne, showing the Earth leaders that humans were already part of the royal family. President Sarah Martinez of the United Earth government looked nervous, but determined. She had brought her best diplomats and scientists. They were trying hard not to stare at the incredible aliens around them. "Welcome to my ship, President Martinez," the Empress said graciously. "I am honored to meet the leaders of Jake's home world." "The honor is ours, Your Majesty," President Martinez replied. "We are amazed to learn that one of our citizens has become so important to your family." Luna giggled softly. Jake was still getting used to being called important. To him, he was just a man who loved 2 extraordinary girls. "Jake Morrison saved my daughters when they were lost and afraid," the Empress explained. "He showed them the best qualities of humanity. Because of his kindness, I decided to offer friendship to your species instead of simply adding your worlds to my empire." The Earth leaders exchanged glances. They had not realized how close humanity had come to being conquered. "What kind of friendship do you have in mind?" President Martinez asked carefully. "Trade, cultural exchange, and protection," the Empress replied. "Your scientists would benefit from our technology. Our empire would benefit from your fresh perspectives. And together, we could explore parts of the galaxy that neither of us could reach alone." Over the next several hours, they discussed the details of an alliance between Earth and the Galactic Dominion. Jake helped translate not just languages but ways of thinking. When the Earth leaders worried about losing their independence, Jake explained how the Empress ruled by cooperation rather than force. When the Empress wondered if humans could be trusted with advanced technology, Jake shared stories of human courage and creativity. Luna and Zara also played an important role. Their presence showed the Earth leaders that the royal family trusted humans completely. When President Martinez saw how the girls looked at Jake with love and respect, she began to understand what kind of man he truly was. "Mr. Morrison," she said during a break in the negotiations, "your country is proud of what you have accomplished here." "I just tried to do the right thing," Jake replied. "Anyone else would have done the same." "No," President Martinez said firmly. "Not everyone would have risked their life for alien children. You represent the best of what humanity can be." As the day went on, the agreement took shape. Earth would become a protected ally of the Galactic Dominion. Humans would have access to advanced medicine, clean energy, and space travel technology. In return, Earth would provide cultural advisors, engineers, and scientists to help improve life across the Empire. The most important part of the agreement was the establishment of the first human cultural embassy. It would be located on the Palace ship, with Jake as the first ambassador. His job would be to help other species understand humanity, and to make sure human values of kindness and cooperation spread throughout the galaxy. "Jake gets to stay with us forever now," Luna whispered happily to her sister. "And he gets to help make the whole galaxy better," Zara added with pride. When the formal ceremony was over, Jake found himself alone with the Empress on the observation deck. Earth hung in space before them, beautiful and peaceful. "Do you ever regret the choice you made?" she asked him. Jake thought about his old life on Frontier Station. The loneliness, the struggle, the feeling that nothing he did really mattered. Then he thought about Luna's laughter and Zara's trust. He thought about the thousands of worlds he had helped bring together. "Never," he said honestly. "These past months have been the best of my life." "Good," the Empress said with a smile. "Because my daughters are not the only ones who have found a new family. You have given me something I lost long ago." "What is that, Your Majesty?" "Hope," she replied. "Hope that the galaxy can be more than just systems to control and resources to manage. Hope that different species can truly understand each other. Hope that my daughters will rule with wisdom and compassion when their time comes." Luna and Zara came running onto the observation deck, their crystal ornaments chiming like tiny bells. "Jake! Jake!" Luna called out. "Mother says we can visit Earth tomorrow. We want to see the ocean. And taste chocolate," Zara added. The Earth leader said chocolate is wonderful. Jake laughed and caught both girls in a hug. "We will see everything. I will show you the mountains and the forests and the cities. I will take you to meet my old friends." As they stood together watching Earth turn slowly in space, Jake Morrison realized that his story had come full circle. He had started as a lost man with no family and no purpose. Now he was a father, an ambassador, and a bridge between civilizations. The broken space engineer who had once lived in a storage room was gone. In his place stood a man who had found his true calling by simply choosing to be kind to two frightened children. Behind them, the vast fleet of the Galactic Dominion prepared to welcome Earth into a larger community of worlds. Ahead of them lay adventures among the stars, new friendships across species, and the chance to make the galaxy a better place for everyone. But for Jake, the greatest adventure was right here in his arms. Two girls who had taught him that the most powerful force in the universe was not technology or weapons or even empire. It was love. Simple, honest love that crossed all boundaries and made all things possible. Luna looked up at him with shining eyes. "Jake happy?" "Jake very happy," he replied, holding his daughters close as they flew toward home among the stars. The galaxy had become a much smaller, much friendlier place. And it all started with one human who decided that two lost children were worth saving. In the end, that simple choice had saved them all.